Okay, here with Robert Trotner, who is the local representative of Represent Us and the what's now going to be called, I believe, the Lehigh Valley Coffee Party movement.
Coffee Party, yes.
And also has been...
We've been in existence for like 3 years now.
Okay. And also, thank you for being a sponsor of the magazine since you've been there from the start for us.
You brought more members to us. We're over 400 in our various groups. And I would say at least 100 of them came from you.
Thank you. I do appreciate that. I try.
I advertise.
Yeah, I do try. But let's get right to the point.
Okay.
Let's get right to the point here before everybody thinks that my magazine's being bought by everybody. The reason, okay, we have across the country, you have primary elections coming up, especially primarily on the local levels here. Okay, which is where people's voices can really be heard,
exactly.
and where it's really important to get involved. You know, once you start climbing your way up the food chain, less and less. But you know, on your local level is where it really matters, and where you can really say, you know what, you're doing the job. We're going to extend your contract, or you know what, you screwed up. You didn't do the job you were hired for. You're fired. You know, essentially that's what really matters. But
you're fired.
Yeah, pretty much. But here, you know, a lot of people think of money in business and big business involved in politics only happens on the national level and on the state level because that's where it's more, you know, especially with social media.
Yeah.
You know, that's where the screw-ups are more noticeable.
Yeah.
But it's also on the local. You know, a lot of it, the money does happen. I'm not going, just to avoid lawsuits against either of us, I'm not going to go into specifics, but you know, it's,
although we could.
yeah, I got a problem. I don't have a problem with people criticizing me. I have a problem with the word lawsuit. But anyway, you know, and this doesn't matter. We live in the Lehigh Valley. You know, we're here in Allentown. We live in the Lehigh Valley. It doesn't matter from your smallest town in the middle of nowhere all the way up to your largest city like New York, Dallas, San Francisco, Philadelphia, Miami, etc. It does happen on your local level. Am I correct?
Oh, does it? It's first of all, I want to say that the reason why you may have noticed that in the last month or so there've been a whole series, all of a sudden, a whole series of national politicians who have been brought down by scandals, and that's because the Attorney General for the last 3 years has been committed in Washington D.C. to taking these people down. And they're using wiretaps and body wires, and that's why you're seeing a big increase now, and you're seeing it on the news. There have been like 5 major people who have resigned in the last month. But
so the federal government is actually taking a stand on this.
You're going to see a lot more. You're going to see a lot more of that. But they have cases that are pending. But locally, there are major scandals on the local level, and the only way we can be sure that we have an effect as a nation, as a people, is by confronting politicians and speaking truth to power and getting a response. And really, traditionally in America, and it's so true today, the only place you can get that is at the local level. You can walk into a city council in any city in America, and they have what's called courtesy of the floor. You can speak directly to them and get a response about what's on your mind. By the way, you saw that the person in the dumpster, the person was killed in the dumpster by the city?
Yeah, actually a homeless person was sleeping in a dumpster, and when they came to collect the trash, they did not know that the person was there and was actually killed and crushed to death.
A major scandal today, and I'm not talking politics because we are cross-partisan, we don't get involved politically, is the homeless problem. If there weren't so much of a homeless problem, you wouldn't find people sleeping in dumpsters. There are people sleeping on the streets in major cities in the country, and more than a few. But the thing about grassroots American democracy is you can speak, you can go every 2 weeks, they have a meeting of almost any city council in the country, and you can speak to your city councilman face to face and get an answer for what's concerning you. You can also speak about corruption scandals in your community and where they stand with it. You can also speak on where they stand with money in politics. And are they against it? Are they for it? Do they take advantage of it? And all these things, you get a face-to-face answer. To talk to a congressman or a senator or the President of the United States or any cabinet member, or the Speaker of the House, or any of those people, it's impossible unless you have a big check. But you don't have to have any money at all. You can talk to these people and get a response.
And then, like over, I will get specific here. Like, if you're lucky enough, you might have a mayor like Salpanto over in Easton, where, Easton Farmers Market, any of the events over there, you actually, where you have your politicians just walking around, at the events and walking the streets and say, hey, look, I realize you're busy, but do you have a minute? Do you have a minute? Sometimes you can get that lucky,
Oh, it happens all the time with Salpanto. You can stop him and he'll talk to you.
Mm-hmm.
He's of the people. Can you imagine Senator Toomey or Senator Casey walking down the street of the farmer's market and saying, what do you want to talk about? What's your concern?
I can't imagine them without people around them doing that, But that's just, because of their position in their position,
There's a wall of money that separates us from the national politicians, even the state politicians. A wall of money.
Now, we do have one or two that on the state level, which I recently was with you. You invited me to attend a meeting where Mike Schlossberg.
Yeah.
We do have one, a few here that, I'm not going against you, Robert. It's just, I'm showing the other side where that they actually do care about what their constituents think.
Absolutely.
It's just with their schedule, it's very,
And Charlie Den is also another one that speaks to you. You don't have to have a check. But those people are unique. The most you can talk to is an aide, unless you have a big check. And I was going to say that there's a wall of money. Say you're a politician or you're a state official or a federal official, and I want to talk to you. There's a wall of money separating us. I won't go beyond that wall to meet you, and you can't go get in the wall to meet me. What is that wall of money? Those are the big contributors who are giving money for a business favor or business money from the government. It's a wall of money. You only see them on TV or you see them on TV with very scripted public relations ads to create an image. You never see them in person. Because there's a wall of money. Take away that wall of money, take away money in politics, and politicians and people are going to have to talk all the time, the way it used to be in this country, the way it's traditionally been.
Yeah, even though, like I've stated, I actually posed this idea to you where, even though technically we're their boss, okay, they want to look at it as a business. Well, I don't care how much money they're getting, they still have to get a majority of that vote from the people. Right. If they do not get a majority of that vote, they're fired.
That's it.
And all that money doesn't mean a single thing.
You're absolutely right about that. I couldn't agree with you more. But public relations experts get big money for coming up with ways to make their candidate look good, or more and more to make the opponent look bad. They're paid big money to come up with these psychological techniques to influence people's vote. And we always have that power, but the problem with democracy, as de Tocqueville said when he wrote his book Democracy in America in the 1820s, the problem with Americans, you're right about what you say, but we have a democracy, which means the people can decide. But the democracy is made up of individual people. I can decide to vote one way, but I can't decide for the 100 million people, other voters, for me. I know I'm going to vote, but they may vote the other way. I'm only one person out of 100 million.
Right.
An individual voter. So you understand what I mean? I can make a decision, but you've got to convince other people to look beyond their own relations and make real decisions.